What's up, y'all? This is Slayton Mobile Gaming, and today we have a Warcraft Rumble video with the Season 7 update. It's a great one. New family, new minis, new leaders, new everything. Of course, thank you, Warcraft Rumble, for sponsoring this video. Let's jump right on into it. I'm super pumped to bring you all of this fun stuff. So this is, if you've been playing in the Warcraft universe for a long time, the Cenarian family finally coming in to Warcraft Rumble. First introduced in Warcraft 3, and now they're here. And again, new minis, new leaders, new emotes, new zones, new events. Let's jump right in to the new content. First, the Cenarian family overall is going to be about sustainability, about healing, about control, about keeping your minis on the board. And the first leader of those two, Cenarius, who is the namesake overall of the Cenarian family, is super cool and just all about that. You might recognize him from the old Warcraft 3 cutscenes with his big antlers. Cenarius has a couple of really cool abilities that will keep your minis on the board. First, he gives 20% extra health to all of the Cenarian family minis. He also has a passive heal, and he has this really cool root ability, which is we're going to talk about in just a second, and that ties into his talents. His first talent, Force of Nature. Summon a treant when a rooted enemy dies. So think about when nearby enemies get rooted and this can turn them into help for his direction. That's absolutely massive. This could be really great against some of the more swarmy troops, right? Think about this against harpies, turning them quickly in the opposite direction. That's a really, really cool, potentially very powerful ability. Revitalize, number 2, allies entering the Tranquility trigger an additional heal pulse. More healing is absolutely great. And for when you already synergize this with his 20% extra health, all that extra healing going to be very, very good for trying to create big, kind of very similar to Tyrion Ford Ring, big mini balls that roll down and just blow through your opponent's base. And then finally, Wild Growth on deploy, root all enemies for 5 seconds. And that can be pretty rad as well, just taking a hold. Like if you're trying to defend a point of interest further down on the map, that's a great one for that as well. Cenarius is very cool and can synergize very nicely with some of your big tanky troops, right? The ability to get them on the board and then keep them way, way up so that they are even more beefy and then throw some DPS behind it. That's going to be very exciting. And of course, some of the spell work too, especially when you talk about Force of Nature and then fighting rooted, the rooted turning the people into treants after they die and then using spells to support that could be very cool. I'm really personally more excited, though, about the second one, Onu, who's a big, tanky, lumbering leader who has a mobile deploy zone. That's right, a mobile deploy zone. Now, there are 2 parts about Onu that are really rad. One is the Safe Arbor ability, which allows your minis to be deployed wherever Onu goes. So now minis that aren't unbound can act in a way similar to unbound minis. Now, of course, they have to go with Onu, but this also means that you can change up some of your ordering, right? No longer are you trapped necessarily to having to play a big beefy tank way in the back and then get timing behind there. You can play your smaller troops in the back and then drop your tank at the exact time you want with Onu further down the map, which gives you some really cool flexibility and timing for building some of your attacks. The talent options here are also really fascinating. Bark Skin gives Safe Arbor, also grants armor for 8 seconds. So you can drop more stuff on to Onu wherever he is, and your minis stay alive a bit longer. Petrify, Safe Arbor exists 8% per second after death. But the one I'm really excited about is From the Trees! ! Minis deployed within Safe Arbor deal double damage on first attack. So the ability for Onu to go down the board, right, and be kind of tanky and get to an enemy-controlled point and then drop a bunch of DPS with Onu, that's going to be very, very cool. That's going to be very, very powerful for you to just blow through certain areas. And on top of that, when you do take a look at some of our troops that we're getting in, some of our new minis, there's a great synergy with one of them, and we're going to get to that one in just a moment. First, let's start at the top here with Ancient of War, who's a flexible bruiser-style mini. And by flexible, I mean you can deploy Ancient of War at different stages of gold and have both different strength for the troop and also interact with different talents. So you can deploy, hey, you need to cycle quickly, get Ancient of War out there early, not as strong. But if you have time to build up and turn Ancient of War into a big, beefy tank, you can totally do that. And then you have the talent options, which kind of can make Ancient of War fit into decks in ways you might want. Sapling, if played for 4 gold or less, gains 50% movement speed, which is very cool. Behemoth, if played for 6 gold or more, gains siege damage, which is also amazing. These are all very, very valuable abilities. And then my favorite here, though, Lightning Rod, which a little adjustment. This will work if deployed for 4 gold or more. Redirect enemy unbound deploys to a current location. This is really going to hurt me with Maeve Shadowsong, right? Like some of the stuff that I like to play. But specifically, one of the most popular troops in the game, Quillbore, suddenly is going to have a bit of a challenge here against Ancient of War. Redirecting unbound deploys to a current location. If you're playing against someone who is playing a Maeve-based deck, or playing Quillbore, playing a lot of the popular, or playing safe, right? Playing a lot of the unbounds, and now forcing the unbounds to actually go directly to this Ancient of War with Lightning Rod, that's really, really powerful. And again, it goes into sort of the defensive control-based idea of Cenarion. Number 2, the Bog Beast. It's a rather straightforward tank, but the talents are very cool. And this one I like a lot, especially with Onu. Actually, this talent goes with both really well. Flourish, heals received are 30% more effective. So that's going to be really great with Cenarius, who has that 20% extra health and the passively healing nearby allies. So you can play Cenarius on top of, you can play either order, but play Cenarius and Bog Beast together, and now your Bog Beast is even more, has more health and more healing, which is going to be really nasty, and I'm excited to see if that's going to be OP or just kind of nasty. Living Wood gains armor and 50% health is very cool. Rampant Growth on death, root nearby enemies for 6 seconds. These are all really nice. Flourish, I think, is going to end up being the coolest one, though. Going to make a tank even more of what it's supposed to be, which is a big tank. Now, let me move myself out of the way here for what I think is the most exciting of these troops. Ancient of War is really, they're all very cool. But this one, the Moonkin is coming in. Moonkin, which is like part bear, part like owl, part deer. I never really understood what a Moonkin is, like actually at its core, but Moonkins look rad, and this one has a very, very cool ability. It's a bulky range spellcaster, so a little bit beefy, right? Not going to be a glass cannon necessarily, who alternates between casting a single target spell and an AoE spell, right? So that's very, very neat, but my favorite ability here, okay, look at the talents, right? And just take a moment, read the talents. What do you think is the coolest one here? Vengeance. Taking damage increases casting speed for 5 seconds. That's cool. Moonglow. After deploying, your next spell gains 2 levels. Now, that next spell has to come directly after. A little adjustment here. That spell has to come immediately as the next mini played, but also could be very cool to do some blasting. But that third one, Typhoon on deploy, knock back nearby enemies. This is really cool when combined with Onu's Safe Arbor ability. Because now you start building up a big push behind Safe Arbor, right? You go to attack an enemy-controlled point, and you throw in some troops there. They start attacking, and then boom, you drop in Moonkin to move them all back and disrupt the defense that's trying to work there. I think that's going to be really, really cool and make the Moonkin-Onu combination very powerful. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Now, some other different things here. So here's some of the stats if you want to take a look at kind of what's going on with these different troops. A couple of adjustments here. Cenarius' damage and heal are both increased. Damage is going to be 120 and heal is going to be 28. The Moonkin AoE damage, let me move myself out of the way of Moonkin here. Let me get my mouse onto the correct screen. Boom. Myself out of the way of Moonkin here. Moonkin's AoE damage is going to be up at 80, I think, and the Moonfire damage is going to be up to 165. That's the single target damage. So those two things are going to get adjusted up a little bit. Some beef stats here. Bog Beast health is going to go to 1,100 from 1,000, which is, I think, is going to be crazy. But also take a look. Now we can see the Ancient of War stats here. Look at the, consumes all your current gold for the deploy cost, but look at the difference here, 850 to 3,770, right? So Ancient of War could have the same health as Onu, or more health than Onu. That's a really crazy combination. Very, very exciting for those two things together. But I'm really pumped. Onu Moonkin's going to be great. Ancient of War and Cenarius is going to be very cool. Bog Beast and Cenarius is going to be completely insane. Very excited for all these different troops. There's also some fun stuff going on, the Cenarian Festival. Rich, I want to get my hands on all these minis and get them involved in the game. Well, good luck for you, because the Cenarian Festival starts July 10th and lasts for 3 weeks, and is going to be all about you being able to get your hands on these minis and upgrade them and get them ready so that you can actually put them... Oh, hold on, let me go back here for a second. I'm going to go back to this page. This is going to be all about getting these troops, acquiring them, and getting them beefed up so you can mix them into your armies without having to wait for as long, right? This is a supercharge for the Cenarian family. So there's going to be a bunch of different events. You see each week of this event has a different theme and with the quests, that those quests are going to help you engage with different parts of the game and learn with different parts of the new content. There's also going to be the ability for you to get prizes, tomes, energy, the new minis, all these things to help you jump into Cenarian just as fast as you can. Part of that is also going to be the new campaign zone, Moonglade. So a new Cenarian-themed PvE area that has 5 new maps, new bosses, some really fun new fights and techniques and strategies to figure out, which, it's always exciting to try to kind of change things up a bit. So not just you attacking the old content or you changing PvP, but now a whole new zone for you to deal with. And it's going to be kind of a higher level range, level 74 sigils and up after Blackrock Mountain. And it's going to mix into the heroics, and I'll talk more about the heroic integration here as we get to our next page. So the heroic stages, campaign stages, second thing on here. You will now be required to complete heroic campaign missions in any 5 families. So this is actually really nice, right? It's not like heroic suddenly has to go from 5 to 6 families. Now you can see, and you can see this on this one right up there, like the top left, that now it's going to be any 5 families that you can mix them up. It'll fill them in as you do them. So if there's a family that you really aren't in love with, or you're not as strong in, or you really just want to be grinding Cenarian, the Cenarian family, this is going to help do that. It's a very cool. I actually really like the way they've integrated this into heroics. New trackers for the war chest with Cenarian, new XP tomes, other fun stuff for you. And then they are now also added to the dungeon and grid cycle. You can see the order right over here if you're really concerned about what that grid cycle is going to look like. Either way, I think it's super, super cool. I cannot wait to get my hands on this guy right here, and on this guy in particular. The Moonkin is going to be so super cool. I hope you've enjoyed this little sneak peek, and I cannot wait to jump in there with you. Hopefully I'll see you inside of Warcraft Rumble very soon. Take care.